What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the pod for episode number 52. 52 weeks.
No shit.
That is why I hate you.
Yeah, at this point, with this episode release, you could listen to one episode a week and it would take you a year to get through all of the content.
It's pretty nice.
It's a miracle. Okay, so just off the top of my head, because it's been sitting in the back of my head, I know recently on the podcast I talked about how I finished American Horror Story, like the first half of the double feature season.
Yeah.
Which wasn't true. There was one extra episode. For some reason, it was 6 episodes and 4 episodes, not 5 and 5. So there was an extra episode on top of what I thought was the end, and it made it even worse.
Just confuse yourself chronologically.
The second half of the season was actually really good. Aside from, okay, I don't want to spoil it too much, so I'm going to do my best to avoid spoilers, but it's essentially about aliens, like an alien invasion type deal.
Okay.
And half of it takes place in, I want to say, the 50s and 60s when Eisenhower was president.
Okay.
And then the other half is modern day. And it's not a fair 50-50 split. It seems like more of it takes place in the past in some episodes, and then some episodes it's a little bit more in the future.
Okay.
But the story about the past is incredibly compelling and good. Like, it's a good story, and they did a good job with it. The stuff that happens in the present day isn't quite as good, but it's still pretty compelling and cool. But I love the story and the idea behind it. It was really good, and it was pretty well executed.
I wonder if they reference Asylum.
No,
Because Asylum had the whole aliens thing. So.
Right, they had the little alien subplot. They don't reference Asylum, although thinking about it in my head, it could connect, even though they
Where
don't.
Where else would you think about
it? Just fuck you.
No, people do that. People say that shit all the time, and it drives me crazy.
Thinking about it in my cock, it seems really horny. Oh wait, that doesn't make sense. It actually pays off pretty well. But yeah, I could see how it could connect to. It could explain some stuff very, very vaguely in season 2. But it made me think, man, they do so much with ghosts, and they do so much with creature type stuff, vampires, werewolves. Stuff, why didn't they go back to aliens sooner?
Because aliens are silly. And not that we actually think aliens are silly, it's just that we will initially like go towards alien stories unless it's like just a movie or something, as it just being really silly. And I think it's probably due to like the alien scare we had in real life. We don't take aliens seriously. Even though they're the closest to being the most realistic thing out of any supernatural thing.
That's what I was just going to say. That's part of why I like it so much, is it's way more feasible and real and possible than all the other bullshit they put, the ghost shit. Sure, ghosts may be real, but there's no ghosts like, chilling out everywhere, and we don't know that they exist, like,
or are
and
witches in anything they do.
Yeah, and witches and werewolves and vampires and stuff, like, we know these things don't really exist, or don't have it if they do exist. Why am I even entertaining the idea that if they do exist, they don't exist? But the fact that aliens could take over or be doing something fucked up or nefarious is completely reasonable.
They're just another smart species. That's all they're supposed to. That's all they would be.
I kind of like that aspect of the horror. It makes it better to me. I think that's why I like Event Horizon so much.
I love Event Horizon.
It's such a good movie. And like the alien movie stuff, I think the idea of another life form from another planet is way more feasible than these monsters and ghouls and goblins.
Yeah.
So it makes for a much more realistic horror experience, and it makes you think more and go, man, that's a fucked up situation that could actually have happened or happen. So yeah, kudos to them for getting that right. Although I now only have left, what do I have left? New York City and the newest season, Delicate. So I'm in for a treat. With Kim Kardashian starring in the latest season, and
I don't even with that one.
I looked at the cast of New York City, and I don't see any familiar names, so it's almost like they just have none of the standards.
Yeah, the other good thing, Johnny Depp's daughter is a character in one of them, or something like that. Oh boy!
So it's just it really is just like not scraping the bottom of the Hollywood floor, but it's not top tier. But the Alien episodes did have Sarah Paulson was in them. Evan Peters was in the first half of the season. I don't think he was in the second half. Leslie Grossman, like some of the mainstays of the series were in the season. So it was good. It was nice. They didn't They had Billy Lord, no Emma Roberts, although I know she was in the newest season. But I know Sarah Paulson and not Evan Woods, Evan Peters. Evan Peters. They are American Horror Story in my mind, like those two actors. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to have them there. Anyway, I had to get it off my chest because I shit on American Horror Story for a lot of podcasts lately, and I wanted to go and give them a little bit of kudos
you wanted to give your loyalty
4 good episodes.
For me, I have been obsessing over the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake situation.
See, this is not something that I'm familiar with.
So there's, rap beef is common as spam. Like, it just happens. It sure. exists. They're processed, they're canned, and then everybody likes it, or pretends they don't like it. But the beef, it's just so weird. It's so complicated. I'm not even gonna get fully into it. But I will say what my favorite parts were. One, that Kendrick was just winning the whole time. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like, Drake surprisingly stood up. J. Cole backed out. That, I have no idea what just fell. But anyway,
stuff happens.
It was fun. It was fun. Up until now, somebody tried shooting at Drake, so that wasn't good. Somebody went to his house, and I think they shot a guard, which is not a good thing.
Over this beef?
I don't know. The timing is weirdly perfect.
Drake,
but there was allegations of Kendrick Lamar calling Drake a pedophile. So
I mean,
they think it might have been a vigilante that's just like, oh, he's a pedophile, I'm going to shoot him.
I'm going to go get him.
Or because Drake also makes a lot of enemies. He just does that.
Yeah.
And I always found Drake to be really fake. He's an actor. He's not a rapper turned actor. He's an actor turned rapper. So
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I always see when I think of Drake, I don't think of tough, gritty, from the streets. Yeah, I think of pretty boy who probably had his mommy make his meals for him when he was a kid.
Well,
up until the age of 18.
One of the highlights that Kendrick says is we don't want to hear you say nigga no more. Because whenever Drake says it, it sounds really off. It's so uncomfortable hearing him say it.
That's good. That's funny. And what is that, a line in the song?
Oh, yeah, that's a line in one of Kendrick's songs. And what's really funny is I've listened to Drake say it before, and I don't know how, but he says nigga, but he says it it sounds like a hard R. It just sounds like hard R right out of his mouth, even though he's not. You cognitively know he's not saying that.
He can't help it. He grew up affluent.
He's half Jewish, half black. So that's one thing. Could half of you say it? I'll ask my kids, which half of you are cursing at me right now?
Yeah.
if my kids had ever said it.
Yeah.
But there was that line. There's I'm not going to say the line right, but he's like, I know, Drake, I know you want to strike a chord, but I bet every time you do it's an A minor. It's A minor, which is so
it's in a minor.
It's A minor. You have to listen to it. I think that one is the Grams, I think it is, but regardless. So Drake was losing this beef, whatnot, but then in the middle of one of his songs, I think Family Matters, he tells this producer, he's talking about a bunch of family members of Kendrick Lamar and whatnot.
I love that show.
Seeing that as an adult now, I fucking hate Steve and love Carl, but as a kid, I loved
Carl's
Steve
awesome.
and hated Carl.
Have you watched Invincible?
But before we get derailed, because I'm going to completely forget the conversation.
Just really quick derail.
I have not watched Invincible because I read the comic, and I just was like, if it follows the comic, I'm not going to follow it too much. But I think I need to watch the show.
The high school is Reginald Val Johnson High School, and he does the commencement speech in season 2. Anyway, go on.
Oh, that's so good.
It's hilarious.
So so Drake tells this producer, Metro Boomin, to shut up and make drums. So Metro Boomin, who I didn't even know who he was. He was a producer for everybody at one point. This man came out with the first diss beat.
Diss beat?
Beat. there's no words except for
right.
the harmony in the song that says BBL Drizzy.
PBL Drizzy, what's that?
Well, BBL stands for Brazilian butt lift.
That I know,
And
yeah.
Drizzy is Drake's, like, big Drizzy, like P. Diddy, all that. Haha, I said
Brazilian
it.
butt lift Drake?
Drizzy, because he has had cosmetic surgery as far as people are concerned.
It's so funny.
And it's like, and he made it in, in a concert, when, like, the best part, the most memorable part of a concert to people is the audience participation part. When they bring somebody on stage or they have the audience sing with them, everybody fucking loves and remembers that part. This man made audience participation diss to Drake. Like, forever, he literally said, I will feature whoever makes the best rap song to this beat, dissing Drake. Like, he won. Metro Boomin came out Kendrick was killing him, but Metro came out and just started stomping on him. And he's the one that's the victor here. Because no matter what, forever, like, people are going to have beats based off, like, songs based off of making fun of Drake simply because it's audience participation. Everybody else gets to throw a fist in. Drake can't respond to these people. He doesn't fucking know who these people are.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like that's like a knockout punch. That's a TKO.
It is absolutely great. I'm very upset that even if this is related, that it culminated in a shooting and somebody had nothing to do with it. It was a bodyguard got shot, and hopefully he lives.
Right.
And we'll hopefully find the reasoning. Some people are saying it's fake. Some people are not. We don't have enough information. I haven't looked it up super recently, like today. But as far as I know, there is a guy in hospital, and he's in critical condition, which is not good. And hopefully it's not related to the rap beef. Because rap beef, honestly, nowadays, it should just be fun. It is two poets, like, trying to outwit each other. That's what that should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it could be like you said. It could be just some vigilante type thing, some crazed fan thing that they're just like, he's diddling kids. I got to go take care of this.
Yeah. Another reason why I'm totally against people just having an emotional reaction to allegations is so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not like it hasn't happened before, so that could be it.
So, yeah, I've been... only thing has really been giving me joy was that, up until it turned to dog shit at the end.
Yeah, you mentioned it to me the other day briefly. We didn't get into it though, but that's hilarious.
Especially because it's just making fun of Drake. Drake is so fucking, like, comically fake.
I mean, I always go back to what's the fucking one video where he's in the colored rooms? That fucking video, like in the dance moves he does. They have the meme where he's like hitting a tennis ball because of the weird dance he's doing. I always go back Hotline Bling. There you go. I always go back to that and how terrible it was, and then remember when Trump parodied it.
It was when he was cool with SNL.
Yeah, when he was on SNL and he parodied it. I can't say that fucking word. Parodied it. Parodied. Yeah, I always go back to that. So those two things are connected in my mind. So Drake, therefore, is just a bitch because of those two things.
Here's something that most people forgot about. Because Drake, I stopped liking Drake a long time ago, but I forgot. It's been so long. I forgot why I stopped liking him. And it was simply because, unironically, for a photo shoot, he was wearing blackface. And I mean, like, big red lips, black ink, like, face with white gloves, just going, ta-da, jigaboo Sunday. Like, not kidding. For a photo shoot, it was unironic. There was nothing like, it wasn't like Robert Downey Jr. playing a character that's doing blackface and being called out on it.
He thinks he's white. He thinks he's white and can get away with. He thinks he's white though, and he's trying to get away with being racist because he's like, I'm half black, I can do it.
Well, he doesn't code switch for survival. He code switches for personal gain.
Yeah, he's a racist white guy who knows he can get away with acting black, so he does it to be racist.
Yeah. It's just like, ooh,
Speaking
you're a long
of,
way from Degrassi.
I have got to stop calling black men brother. I have to stop doing it. I keep doing it, man. I went to the drive-thru again at Dunkin' Donuts, and again, thanks, brother.
I don't think you've ever called me brother once.
I call people brother all the time. I've
heard you say it to other people, not just black people. You've never said it to me.
I probably haven't ever said it to you. I don't know why. It's usually
for me. Black.
Well, it's not.
No.
It's not.
I've
It's
gotten
not.
that before, so it's great.
It's not a friend term. It's not like "What's up,
No,
bud?"
no.
It's a colloquialism for me that I use just with like random people that I don't know. Like,
But white
thanks, bud.
dudes
Thanks,
use brother
dude.
all the time. Like biker gangs say brother all the time.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, let me
But
tell you something, brother. That's like his
I don't know
thing.
where it comes from, but whenever I interact with a
Like,
male stranger, and I assume gender too, if I'm doing it,
yeah,
that's
old
even worse.
black men use brother all the time. So like, which
But
is the same thing.
I use the hard R.
White people love their hard R.
But I do it all the time. I went and got coffee again the other day. The guy hands me, "Thanks, brother," and I that's it.
I would think you would sooner get in trouble for not for saying like that to a black person, but saying it to somebody and go, "You assume my gender."
Yep. Oh, say it to a man who presents as a woman, and I don't know it.
Self-identifies as a woman.
Yeah, I don't know it. Thanks,
Doesn't
brother.
outwardly
Excuse
identify.
me. Excuse me. I identify as a woman. All right, I'll be like, all right, thanks, sister.
Okay, thanks, sister.
Drive away.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that's the reply. Like,
but it's
thanks.
just it's like ingrained to me. I say it all the time, and I feel like a dipshit every
Why do you
time I
feel
say
like
it
you need to stop doing it though? The way
I
you
don't
speak.
because of two reasons. One, I feel like I'm being racist,
You're
or
not.
again, I feel like I'm gonna say it
Do you
to a man.
specifically just say it to black people?
No, I say it to everybody.
Then you're not being racist. That's stupid. You're being stupid.
But like,
white man's burden.
even even at Staples, there's this. I don't know. It's I believe biologically, I believe he is a man, but he seems like maybe he's trans.
Oh, you're
I'm not
sure?
sure. And I'm just every time I go there, I'm afraid I'm gonna be like, "Thanks, brother," and be offended and offend him or her.
Well, then then when they correct you, you go, "Okay, sister." You literally scenarioed yourself.
You're right.
You're being self-conscious. That's what's happening.
I am being I'm always self-conscious though. I mean, that's my thing. Oh, okay. You got anything you want to move on to before I move on to something else? Okay. This is the oddest thing ever. I'm driving my daughter to an appointment yesterday, and we're driving, and she says, "Do you and mommy ever make out?"
We haven't done it since you were born, child.
And I said, "Wait, what?" And she said, "No, right? You don't make out, right?" And I went, "Well, that's kind of a private question." I was like, "But yeah, we do. I mean, people who are in love and people who are married, that's something they do from time to time." Oh, here's why it came up. I was listening to "Hard Out Here for a Bitch" by Lily Allen. Love Lily Allen. And one of the lines is, "You ask me about my sex life, then you call me a slut." So she heard sex life. Okay. And then it came up and she asked me, and I just said, yeah, sometimes, but married people and people who are in love, sometimes they do that. And she was like, oh, and I was like, why would you ask me that? And she said a kid at school asked her if her parents made out. And I was like, that's so weird.
That is so weird.
She said, I said no. And I didn't know what to say. I just said, I mean,
love
look,
awkward parent moments.
I know it's funny for me. Like, these things don't typically get awkward. They just get like, what the fuck? Like, my brain is just like, what? Like, where is this coming from? It wasn't really even that awkward for me. I was just totally thrown off.
My daughter was just recently started talking to me about sports bras. Like,
you mentioned that she had gotten some as a gift and was wearing them.
She did, and it's just, she's like, I know I shouldn't wear it. Like, she was in her room in it. She's like, I'm going to put a shirt on outside of it, but how do I look at it? I'm just like,
That's a weird question to ask your father.
Well, because again, it's like, it's a piece of clothing. Let me, like, it's cool. Like, it's innocent. It was super innocent. But for me,
of course, on her
I'm just like, when she gains that brain synapses where that line is now drawn, I can't wait. Because I don't need to be. It's so uncomfortable.
You just answer. It looks good, honey.
Yeah,
it looks good, honey.
That's what I did. Was like, just make sure. Like, I had to affirm for myself. I know to her, I was just like nagging her, but for me, it was just like, just don't. You could talk to me or your mom. Don't do that in front of your brother, and don't do that with other people.
Yes.
It was just like my son. He asked me, "Why do I get hard?"
You told me that, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like,
my daughter.
He was in the tub when it happened, so he was like, "Why does it happen?" I was like, because blood rushes through your body, and that's one of the places your blood goes." He goes, "Oh yeah, it fills with blood. That makes sense."
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, you gave him.
Yay!
You just omitted certain data. You gave him a true answer. You just
Yep.
omitted a little bit. That's all. She also asked me what humping was the other day, and I just said I don't know how to answer that question right now, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside. But I told her, because I said, look, when you ask me a question, what do I do? And she was like, you tell me the truth. And I said, and she said, like, when I ask you curse words, you tell me what they mean. And she's like, most people's parents are probably just like, you don't need to know that, or don't ask me that question. And you just tell me what they mean. And I was like, yeah, right. I was like, so if you ever have any questions about those things, making out or any or sex life things or anything like that, go ahead and ask me and I will tell you the truth. And she's like, okay. Which is fine, because I know I'm going to have that. And I want to be the parent that actually has that conversation with their kids, because my parents didn't.
But
and I don't want to.
My version is not yet. You're just, I can't explain it to you
No,
because you're too young for me to explain it to you just yet.
Not yet. But when the time comes, I want to make sure I'm the one that I want to explain things properly. So I don't want it to be like me getting your information from the internet and porn and like all kinds of weird places.
Don't get upset, not you, but your wife, because I know maybe at some point she might listen to this actively. Don't get upset when I say this, but I just don't see her as the one to really honestly explain something comfortably.
well, that's,
like, she's a teacher, but I just don't see her doing it.
Well, because I don't think that's the most common, comfortable topic for her to engage with a stranger about, or her child.
Yeah.
So I could see that being the case, and I'm just very raw and realistic with things, and I just kind of let
diarrhea
my
in the mouth.
Yeah, I just let it all spill out, and sometimes I go too far. I have to just make sure I don't, delve into anal.
Oh, God.
So there's also anal.
Oh, God.
And there's also no, but just to be clear for our listeners, no, I would not do that. I want to make sure that's clear. I'm just making a good joke.
Watching some of my garbage online, there's something really funny. So there's a comedian, Bob Levy. I guess he's an old comedian.
Okay.
Bob Levy was on, I guess, Howard Stern show. I don't know when this happened. I passively heard this, and I thought this was a funny story. He was talking about how Dave Chappelle stole a joke from him.
Okay.
And he asked a comedian friend of his, and the comedian friend was like, dude, you don't want to do this. Just don't do this. And mind you, the joke is so fucking brain dead. Like, you would think any person
joke
would come up with. It was from the Chappelle show, mind you. So that's like when we were kids. Like,
right.
Dave Chappelle, as a passing comment in the skit, said, I'm gonna beat my dick like it owes me money.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. This Bob Levy guy, apparently he's like, that's always in my act. I always say that in my opening act. Like,
anybody could have come up with that.
Like, are you fucking serious? So he calls in, I think, to the Howard Stern show when Dave Chappelle was on, and confronts Dave Chappelle about it.
Yeah, that's not a smart idea.
The first thing the guy says,
you don't want to try to battle wits with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, he's like, you think I stole a joke from you? He goes, yeah. He goes, what joke did you think I stole? And he goes, and before the guy could really finish, he goes, oh, it's because you're a hack. This is why you think I stole from you. Because it wasn't even a joke. It was like, that's literally a transfer joke. Like, you have your real joke, and then just saying that in the middle just keeps the laughter going as you make your next joke.
Yes. Yeah, that's not your main joke. Yeah.
If that is your punchline, hang it up. You're done. Just stop.
Right. Yeah. No, that's certainly one of those jokes, like you said, that it's what do they call it when what did fucking oh my God, what's her name? Amy Schumer. What did she call it when she got accused of joke stealing with like 30 minutes of examples presented to her? She like what did they call it? Like some sort of like alike thinking.
Yeah,
or
I know what you're
something
talking
like that.
about. It's not coming to mind right now.
That seems like a valid example of that.
Yes.
Of that,
It's
brains
lateral parallel thinking.
Parallel thinking, yeah. That seems like parallel thinking to me, not Amy Schumer's examples of her just completely ripping off jokes.
Well, that's the thing. Parallel thinking doesn't follow an entire track. A one-liner could be parallel thinking. Even the idea of just like, because the statement, I'm going to beat you like you owe me money.
Right.
It's a comment that makes sense. Like, I want something out of you. I'm not going to beat you to death, but I'm going to beat you so bad that you're going to pay me what you owe me.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes along with organized crime stuff that used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
People would be beaten because they were owed money. I'm going to break your legs.
And all of a sudden now you're thinking, okay, well now let's use some wordplay when people use beating off. How funny is it for somebody to be feverishly masturbating?
So hard. It's so like
hard that it could be considered a violent act.
Yes, that's where you're going with that, right? Yep.
And it's like, I don't know. That's not your punchline.
You don't want to go up against Dave Chappelle in any sort of
right.
Even if you're right, you don't want to battle Dave Chappelle in any sort of conversational format. Yeah. You're just gonna lose.
He doesn't need to steal jokes, but that's the problem. Again, like I think a lot of people in online trans community are correct with how he jokes about them.
He doesn't even need to make jokes anymore. Yeah, he could just say whatever he wants on stage, and people pay money to see it. He doesn't have to come up with jokes.
Sits and smokes and lectures you, and people are like, "Man, he's killing it right now." It's like he's
and then they put it out as a comedy special when a lot of it's not even necessarily funny.
I'm at a college lecture right now. This is what this is.
When I say not funny, I mean not meant to be funny. It's not that it's supposed to be, and it's not. It's just
there might be a joke. I mean,
he's turned into Henry Rollins.
Yeah, he might tell a joke or two, but that's it. He's not like oh my god, can't believe I just forgot John Leguizamo, who does a set like that and is just animated, constantly funny, constantly like he's not doing that. He's just sitting.
Yep.
Well, man, black people have the worst.
That's really good.
Like that's what he does.
That was really good. Do it again.
Look, I know people talk to me. They say, Dave. I go, yeah. And they're like, Dave, you gotta stop talking. You talk too much. That's all I do, nigga. I talk too much.
That's so good. Okay, all right. We gotta take a quick break because I'm gonna go and get my hair cut, which means in the video, people are going to see the break here, and all of a sudden I'm gonna be clean shaven-ish.
It's gonna be great.
And it's gonna look awkward, but that's okay. We'll be right back, even though we're not gonna be right back. It's gonna be a half a second from now. Oh, and we're back.
Whoa, I'm white. Oh, okay. I'm back.
He took my beard down. So I asked him to take my hair down a little shorter than he usually does, and I guess he decided to do my beard to match it. And now I barely have a beard, which is a little concerning for me.
It has a little bit of the Bruce Willis going on.
I feel a little naked, to be honest with you, but that's fine. It'll grow in like 2 days from now. I'll have a fucking full beard again. What were we talking about? I don't even remember.
No, I don't.
Doesn't matter. When I was at the barbershop, they had on the roast of Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to segue nicely into our topic because, let's see, how am I going to put this? They did not hold back on jokes or anything. I mean, there was no worry about, we're going to get in trouble for what we're saying. They said whatever they felt like saying, made the most crass, fucking unpolitically correct jokes they felt like making.
It is a roast.
It's a roast, right? Which is fine. That's part of a roast, but dude, it was unhinged. It was so good. I mean, I watched about 40 minutes of it, but it was unhinged with the jokes. Tony Hinchcliffe, he's the guy that does Kill Tony, right?
Yes.
He made a joke about
insane.
He made a joke about this comedian Sam, who he said was an obese black lesbian. I don't know who the comedian is, but
I have no idea.
And he said she doesn't eat pussy. She doesn't eat pussy. It was the best joke. She doesn't eat pussy. Oh hell no, is on that pussy. I laughed. Dude, I laughed for like 20 minutes. I was like, and even Kevin Hart came up because he was the host after it. He was like, dude, that was the best joke. He was like, I can't even be mad. He's like, you totally went after black culture with your jokes, and I can't even come back to it. It was just too good.
Oh.
He was so funny. But they really didn't hold back at all. They didn't.
Usually the Kill Tony crew, like the people that are like deal with Kill Tony, they don't.
That's true.
Don't at all.
That's true. But the whole roast, I mean, everybody, I watched more seltzer. I watched a number of a bunch of the people that went up, and oh my god, dude, good stuff. It was so funny. They had there was a joke about Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I think it was also Tony Hinchcliffe. He said
right.
he said something about Kim Kardashian's had more black men in her end zone than most football players.
Oh my
And
god.
then he said seriously though, you should keep your legs closed, Kim. You got more public beef than Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Good jokes, dude.
Oh my
Really
god.
good jokes. But yeah, it was fucking funny. I enjoyed it thoroughly. That was it. Yeah, we finished talking about my daughter asking about making out with my wife, right? We talked
Yep,
about
I
me
talked
saying
about
brother.
not Dave, Bob Levy, saying Dave Chappelle stole jokes from.
Right,
Oh yeah,
right.
you made me do a Dave Chappelle impersonation. That was
And
it.
oh, that's right. And it was so good. It was such a good Dave Chappelle impersonation. I'd try it, but whenever I think of Dave Chappelle impersonation, I just want to be like, oh no, oh man, no.
Well, he does. Well, he stopped doing that because
That, but I
he's
saw.
his either his muscles or the amount of smoke he smoked, like cigarettes he smokes, just like crushed his lungs.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
made
he went
him
from
a little
Dave
mellow.
Chappelle to I'm Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
Like that's
absolute
how he
show.
talks now.
I saw a meme the other day that said memes in the '90s were us just yelling Chappelle's show lines to each other.
That's 100% true.
I know, it's so fucking
Between
does.
between Chappelle Show and South Park.
South Park, yep. Beavis and
And
Butthead for
weird
a while
wrestling
there.
quotes like "suck it" and all that shit.
Oh
Like
yeah,
people are
that stuff
doing
was
stuff like
huge.
that all the time. If
I
you smell, like everybody just did that.
Dude, when I was a kid, I used to just embody the personality of whatever character I was obsessed with at the time. And I did it for a long time. I mean, I did that with Beavis and Butthead. There was a
Oh my
while where
god.
I just walked around going, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
Like doing that shit.
Well,
And
shut up,
then
Beavis.
I definitely went through the Rock phase where I
Yep.
used to like talk like the Rock all the time. And then I went through my house MD phase where I just connected with
You
hit.
grabbed a cane and you limped all over the
I just no,
house.
I actually have. I'm gonna show you. Ready? We're gonna
Oh
look up
no.
here. Which way do I have to go with this camera? Wrong way. There's House's cane hanging above my
Oh my
doorway.
goodness. I never even
Um,
noticed that.
I connected with House as far as his personality, his sarcasm,
The
his not give a
cynicism?
fuck, his cynicism, his antisocial personality. I just connected with it so deeply that
Yeah.
I didn't like act like House or be House.
You just related.
I related and I told you I have every one of the pair of shoes he's ever worn on the TV show, right?
Yeah, I
So
still
I
think
have.
that's weird, but I get it.
It is weird, but I have his cane I had bought, which is just hanging. I never used it or pretended to limp around like a fucking lunatic. That would have been a bit much. Can you imagine me walking around with a cane pretending to limp?
Like you have a limp.
Oh, that's pushing it.
That means, like, if you did that for a long enough time, you would have met people who would have thought you had a limp,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been
Absolutely.
hilarious. To like
Absolutely.
be obsessed with this character and act like this character and have a limp, and like, you 5 years down the line you stop doing it, and people are like, didn't you have a limp?
Yeah. What
Like, just
happened to that?
completely thrown off.
And like, it's got better.
Actually, that's a really cool thing. Really cool. It's fucked up, actually. Thing to do to somebody. Like, if you get a new job, just pretend that there's one aspect about yourself that's just either
Like,
exaggerated or not there.
do a Russian accent all the time.
And then after a period of time, just stop doing it.
Yeah,
Just completely
just
stop
like,
doing it. But
and
don't
see if
acknowledge
anyone.
that you're not doing it.
Right. Just act like nothing happened, nothing changed. See what people think. That would be a fun
You know how
experiment.
many
I'm sure it's
people
been
you would
done before.
fuck? Oh, I'm sure, but how fucked up. Like, that is a real Mandela effect. Like, you just fucked with somebody's head. That's
Absolutely.
Really. That's really what it is. But
on the latest episode of, oh my God, John Oliver, late night with John, last week tonight with John Oliver, he did he kept making Mandela effect jokes about the Berenstain Bears.
oh
And
my
then
god, that
every
drives
time
me
he brought it
crazy.
up, he changed it. Like then it was Berenstain Beavers. And it was Berenstain Badgers.
Honestly, it drives me crazy. Sometimes we talk about certain things because my wife brought up like the cornucopia and the Fruit of the Loom symbol.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how I
swear to
learned what a
God.
cornucopia was.
Yeah, I swear to
So
God
how
that
in
was
the
there.
fuck is it never have been there, and now it's there currently?
I don't
Like,
know.
because I didn't know what a cornucopia was.
Me
and
neither.
That's how I learned, because I was like, what is that thing?
I don't know.
Like,
Well, a cornucopia is a weird idea
I don't
to
even know
begin
what
with.
it's really used for. I still don't. But
It's a horn of plenty.
Yeah,
I mean, I just know it's another name for it.
it's really dumb because, again, there's so much information and so much, like, people just say shit just to say shit.
Yeah.
That it's reasonable to be confused and to think that people are fucking with you.
Yes to that.
And that's kind of scary and sad.
It's weird, but it's a good idea. Maybe I'm gonna try it now.
Just somebody you recently met.
Next new place I show up, I'm gonna next new group of people I meet. I'm gonna you know what? I'll whip that cane off the wall and I'll pretend to have a limp.
I was born with a club foot.
You know what happens though? Like you do that, and then all of a sudden you have a limp. You just can't not do it. It becomes real.
Well, imagine how hard it is for actors then when they have to pretend to do something for such a long period of time.
I can't imagine doing. I don't remember how many seasons House ran, 6, 7 seasons, something like that, and having to fake a limp every day on set.
Any British actor now, or most actors nowadays in America, having to fake an American accent for so long.
Yep. What's the woman from Fallout? Ella Purnell, whatever, from the new Fallout series. She was on a talk show talking about how her American accent is so ingrained in her, and she's so good at it now. Like, people she's worked with don't know that she's not American because her American accent's so good and convincing, and she uses it so often. Yeah, that's weird. So
not like Christian Bale's anyway, where it's just really flat, and he just talks like this the whole time.
Some actors I don't understand. Like, there's dialect coaches that they could spend money on. They have to not be terrible, and they don't do it.
Yeah, like Christian Bale. Look, granted, I didn't know that he wasn't British. Like not before Batman. Like before Batman, because I found out he was British.
Wait. He's not British?
No. I said that backwards.
Okay.
I found out that he was British.
Right.
Because he has like a really a Welsh or Cockney accent. Like, it's really strong.
Right.
But I found out during the movie Shaft. Because in Shaft, I thought that was his real accent. I was a kid, so what?
Right.
But when when I heard it, I was like, oh, you know what? His American accent makes sense now. Like, it's just that weird. It's weird because it's a copy of like a Midwestern accent, but it's just very flat. Because I guess to people with a British accent, American accents are flat unless it's the Southern accent.
Well, a typical American accent does. You're right. It does seem very flat. There's no real enunciations or flair to it, and with a Southern accent, there's a lot of flair.
Mm-hmm. And
that makes sense.
I think Brits might hear it like that because the same thing with Idris Elba,
right?
Like, but he's done it where now when he speaks an American accent, he kind of stops, and then he continues, and then he stops. I've been playing Phantom Liberty, so I'm hearing his American accent, and it's like he does that with all his American accents.
We haven't talked games at all. Yeah, you're right. You know who does it for me? Gerard Butler. His Scottish accent is so unnerving to me when I hear it because I'm used to hearing his American accent, and the Scottish accent is a very rough.
It's very rough
accent. It's a very rough.
Like, the word
burly
literally is that
Droog.
word. Like,
Droog.
Like, for me, that's the most Scottish word.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very, very harsh accent, so that's the one that throws me off. Yeah. Just quick side note again. Yeah, Invincible. You should check it out. I think you'd really like the series. It's really good. I hadn't watched season 2, and I binged like 5 episodes in like a day and a half.
I'm sure it's good. It's just I put things on the back burner and just never.
Yeah,
bring myself to watch it.
It was on my back burner. Season 2 came out a while ago, and it's just been sitting. Yeah. And they finished all the episodes, and I finally got around. I watched the first one, and I just kept watching it because it's really good.
Because I did the same thing with The Boys. I But I think the show is actually better than the comics. So
The Boys is so good.
like
Comes
the
back June
comics
14th.
is just shocking and gets really gross and weird.
Oh, to the point where it's like too much?
Well, okay, so at one point, like Mother's Milk. Mother's Milk's one of my favorite characters.
Great character, yeah.
And Mother's Milk, his actual mother is mutated to where she has like tentacle nipples, and she wants to breastfeed him all the time, which is how
That's
he gets his
creepy.
powers.
Well,
How he stays strong. He does actually have powers, just like in the show.
In the show itself, they haven't. None of that's happened yet.
They're not going to do that with him. They're just not going to fucking do that because it really was just shock factor.
I mean, that show has a lot of shock factor. They had an exploding penis.
That's different. No, I'm talking about like MTV, early '90s MTV's idea of shock, where it was just like, oh, we're just going to be gross because that'll get you percolating, like
liquid television style.
Yeah, very liquid television.
That kind of stuff.
Sans, Aeon Flux, which had a good mix of the two. The comic started off, I feel, with the mix of the two, but then, like, I think Garth Ennis, I think that's the creator, he seems to hate superheroes, so all his cynicism just gets really, like, in there. Like, when he introduces the X-Men, like, Professor Xavier is a pedophile, and Wolverine's like the allegories for these characters. It's just a perpetual like nonce. Like he's gross. They're all gross. They're all like sex fiends and just like over the top kind of gross.
You're just being unrealistically gratuitous about it.
Yeah, and it's just
I started watching the original X-Men series, by the way. Not the 97 reboot. I started watching from the original.
So
it's just as just as good as I remember it.
It didn't treat kids like idiots.
Nope, not at all. My wife watched half an episode with me, and she was like, "This doesn't seem like a kid's cartoon. Is this a kid's cartoon?" I was like, "Yeah, It just doesn't treat kids like fucking idiots. It doesn't treat kids like they're dumb."
And that was one thing. Like my mother and I used to watch the show all the time. Morph. I yearned for Morph to come back, like the entirety of the show.
Didn't he? Okay, so this is something that bothered me because he dies in the first episode, and in my back of my head, I was like, wait, he comes back. He doesn't come back.
Spoilers for a show that came out when we were babies. Morph is actually, if I'm not mistaken, was kidnapped by Mr. Sinister. And was experimented on him for years in the Savage. I think they were in the Savage Land, according to the show. So Morph kind of goes nuts and becomes like a paranoid. So in the newer show, Morph is dealing with like PTSD flashbacks of what Sinister put him through.
Yeah, I didn't realize there were so many seasons because there's like 72 episodes, and I'm through like 5 or 6, and I was like, wow, I didn't remember there were so many. I remembered it being like 2 seasons.
If I remember, towards not the end itself, but towards the end, it kind of lost its place for a bit, and it had like the animation. The animation was very anime out of nowhere, but they pull it back.
So far, I'm loving it, and it's very nostalgic for me. All right, quick gaming chat before we get into topic.
Yep.
Because we're gonna run out of time if we don't. I had decided there's not. First off, what are you playing Phantom Liberty on?
Xbox. Series
Xbox?
X.
Is it Game Pass or did you buy it?
I bought it.
Fuck, okay. Well, then there's no way for me to play it. So I was going to say, if you bought it on Steam, I think you can like share your library and then... Yeah, all right.
It's one of the best things Steam has ever come out with, and they better not fucking change it.
So I'm going to end up having to buy it again. But I decided, I settled on, you know what? I'm just going to replay Red Dead 2. Mm-hmm. That's what I just settled on. And I haven't started yet because I was going to buy it digital for $20. Realized I could buy a physical copy for $29 or $30. So I bought a physical copy because then I figured I'll resell it for $20 and I'll only have paid $10 to play the game instead of $20 because that's the way my head works. And then the fucking disc didn't work. Yes. And I had to return it. So I bought it digital anyway.
We talked about this.
I bought it digital anyway. It's downloading. But in the meantime, I started playing Sleeping Dogs. And I thought I hadn't... I thought I hadn't played it before.
They fucking killed that series, and it's so good.
Well, I thought I hadn't played it before, and I'm remembering like all the stuff I'm doing.
Wei Shen.
So I don't know if... Yeah, Wei Shen. I don't know if it's that I started it and then stopped at a certain point because of some reason or
so
what. But
good.
Like a lot of it so far, I just remember it's
It is
so
a
good.
gem.
It's so much fun.
It is a gem of a game.
So I'm just playing that.
Yep.
I'm just playing that for now. I'm gonna go through that. It's so good. It's so fun. The combat's great. There's nothing to complain about. It's just a great game.
Really fucking good game, and nobody they buried that fucking game. They fucking buried it, and they shouldn't have.
What do you mean they buried it?
Okay, so the game came out, and I forgot what kind of corporate bullshit was going on, but I guess it didn't sell as well as they thought it would.
Okay.
And so they let it die even after the DLC and stuff came out.
Okay.
But the game it was a very ambitious game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it feels
it's
like a modern day like kung fu crime drama.
Yeah, at its heart, it's a GTA clone.
Well, it's
but it has so much more than that.
True Crime,
yes.
New York. This is a true crime game.
Oh, is it?
This is in that series.
I didn't know that.
They just took the name True Crime out of it and just call it Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I remember those were good games too. I enjoyed those as well.
That's why it feels so similar, and that's why you're a cop, but you're undercover.
No, it's more than that because I remember the storyline stuff too, and like specific missions.
I'm talking about the GTA aspect, not the fact that you played it before.
My remembrance. Okay. Yeah, I must have never beaten it because I didn't have it. I had it on my list of games I want to play, and I don't know if I started it and never finished it or what, but I didn't have a save game or anything.
I beat it like 3 times, and I can re-download it to my Xbox and just play it because
it's so good.
I own it, and my Xbox recognizes that I own it, and I'm hoping my son will get old enough to play it because he likes watching the fights, but he doesn't understand the combat yet.
Yeah, the combat's a little.
It's like
it's not
Batman.
hard.
It's like Batman Arkham.
I was gonna say it's very much like Arkham.
But
it's a lot of
technical
parrying.
It gets a little technical after a while with like the type of enemies.
Well, because the types of enemies grow, and you get a lot more. You gain a lot more special actions and special moves that you kind of have to use to get through the combat properly. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh my god! Right. I love that game.
Yeah. That's so. I Red Dead 2 is on the back burner now. So. That's right. I talked about this maybe even on the last podcast. I don't even.
I think we talked about it during lunch.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because
well, then I didn't waste the listeners' time.
You sit on a mountain for hours in the
for like 15 minutes.
I could not get through the opening of Red Dead for that reason.
Did you actually not play the game because of that?
I didn't have time. Every time I have to sit through it, and you can't.
You're a hard man to please.
No, because I can't sit for 15 minutes with my kids asking me a bunch of things. And telling me to do shit, and I have to cook. If I have 30 minutes to play a game, if I could jump in and play it, Red Dead cannot be a game I can do that with. Because if it auto-tracked, I would have just let him walk while they talked, and I could do what I needed to do.
Right.
But I can't.
No, you had to move the horse. Yeah.
So fuck that. Right. I can't play it.
Let's get into our topic for this week. It's time.
It's time to begin the complaining.
This week, our topic is the Awokened. The Awokened.
I am smarter than you.
Come and make me mad. I will sick my woke army on you. This is good listening. That's right. That is. It's the Awokened. It's the fact that woke has gone from a good term to a bad term, and has gone from a good thing to a facetious, pretentious, fucked up, ridiculous thing. And the reason I decided, it's been on our list, but the reason I decided was because I was watching the Tom Brady roast, and I was saying, this is what I miss. This is what I miss when people could just say shit that was fucked up and off the cuff and off collar, and
it won't be taken.
And we'd understand it was a joke. We wouldn't take it too seriously. We wouldn't take ourselves too seriously. We would know that it's all in good fun. I don't know what's happening with when woke culture started, it started off as this good thing. Like, let's be accepting. Hey, when there are people that are different than us, we should be aware of that. We should be awakened to that fact.
Yeah.
And just treat everybody equally. And then it somehow made a transition from let's treat everybody equally and be kind to everybody to let's treat select groups of people like they're more special than other groups.
See, I see it the other
And
way.
how do you see it?
Well, not even the other way. That's not appropriate to what I was thinking, but more so that instead of like treating certain people like treating them a certain way, it's turned into let's not even address if you have these dissenting thoughts or feelings. Let me stop you from even having a thought like that. Because if you do have a thought like that and it offends me, you're the bad person.
Right.
You're automatically a bad person for even having those thoughts. How dare you have thoughts that are contradictory to your actual beliefs?
Well, when I say treat them special, I mean treat them as if with a white glove. As I can't go near this
Okay, I get what
subject
you're saying.
without being extremely careful as to what I say. I mean, even me talking about my brother comment earlier, like you said, like don't you shouldn't feel bad for the way you speak. That's just the way you speak. Like it's not a big deal. Same thing. Like the fact that I mean no harm. It's just a word I use to say friend, basically, and that it could be taken out of context and used to attack me. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Well,
It's just
being woke, also you're ignoring like the defining idea of, you know, well, I'm aware that he's a white guy and he's trying to be friendly. I don't know if he's being friendly because I'm black and he's trying to just be accommodating, but I'm also awoke to the idea that this person is trying to be accommodating. I shouldn't have to make them walk on eggshells
but those
simply
mental
because they're trying to
gymnastics.
treat me they're trying to treat me how they want to be treated.
So you're saying is it doesn't matter the ends justifies the means.
No, I feel that being but what woke was look, there were systematic reasons. Like, okay, between you and I, right? I know for a
Okay.
fact that cops will stop me before they stop you. I am
Right.
aware, I am awoke to that.
Right. And that was what it
It is
originally is
not
supposed to mean. Like, hey, Matthew O'Sullivan, white guy, be aware of the fact that Joaquin's going to be more likely to be stopped by police and that sucks for him. And be sympathetic towards that and understand it's wrong and try to do what you can to make sure that people have awareness about that.
yes,
And let's try to correct it.
but I also am aware as a grown man that that you may be able to stay on the side and pull your phone out, maybe say, man, this is wrong, but that's it. Interfere any further, try to be my shield, you'll probably get shot or go to jail with me.
Sure.
Or just make the
That's true.
situation worse. That I'm not trying to use you as a shield. I'm not trying to flip the coin to the other side. I'd rather have it sit on its edge.
That's okay.
And
I see what you're
feel
saying.
like the awoken type of people want to flip it to the other side. It's just like the same
Yeah.
type of people that are like, well, men's rights, women's rights, but then they don't want it equal. They don't want rights. They want to have not opportunity, but to have superiority over the other side.
Yeah, it's not about equality. It's almost like reparations to a degree. Like, hey, it's our turn to be on top now, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people co-opt that, and a lot of people who are afraid of that are misrepresenting it, who initially misrepresented it, feels like it's the same way. Because I definitely feel there's the rich white fear of, and not, I mean, like literally rich white people fearing that, oh, they're going to try to replace us. Because the Great Replacement Theory is a thing. Is like
Explain.
Great Replacement Theory is pretty much, and this was instituted in like a big racist thing where the immigrants, Mexicans, Chinese, blacks, even the Native Americans who were here first are
yeah.
trying to take everything that that white men built and take it over and
Co-opted. Yeah.
get revenge on white people by putting them in those precarious situations. Not even acknowledging that those people who are announcing those things had poor white people that they subjugated. Because in history, when people when minorities and poor whites got together, shit got done, and then they were just made separate. And I don't mean poor as in like downtrodden. I mean just like poor as in like rich or poor. I'm doing just extreme binary
Yeah.
here, because I feel like rich people that are of color that are part of that crew are just as bad.
Sure. Yeah, I
Because
agree.
you become rich, you're like, well, if black people, if there was a glass ceiling for black people, that wouldn't be true. We wouldn't have all these black people that are celebrities that are famous. Well, so they have to shuck and jive in order to make money, right? You can't just be born into wealth. You have to, like, talk about how you were a gangster on the street, or you have to fake who you are. You have to be an actor and entertain people. Like,
Drake.
I quote Chris Rock a lot, with the when he said, like, I'm the only black person in my area, like, when younger Chris Rock.
Right.
The poorest person where I live, as a gated community, was a dentist. Like, he was a dentist, but he was a millionaire, essentially, living with all these celebrities. Chris Rock had to fucking pay dues and go through the entertainment field. And I'm sorry, you want to talk about social toxicity? Fucking the entertainment field is a fucking nightmare, where everybody's fake smiling in your face and stabbing you in the back all the time. You have the audience scrutinizing everything that you say and how you look. You might not look a certain way. Chris Rock had extensive surgery. He fucking lightened his skin.
Did he really?
Look at old Chris Rock. Like, Chris Rock before he became famous. Like, SNL Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And then Chris Rock when he became famous. He had his teeth fixed, his skin lightened. I think he had some nose surgery. I'm not 100% on that one. But he changed, like, to become more visually appealing.
Right.
Where Steve Buscemi didn't have to fucking do that.
No, he's just an ugly motherfucker, and it didn't matter.
He's one of the greatest because they cared about his merit.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Like, the easiest way I can explain with like actual wokeness is be aware that the pull yourself up by your bootstrap statement is an absurdist comment. Because it's absurd. How do you pull yourself in any direction by bootstraps?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's silly. If you're aware of that, then you can move on to embettering yourself by finding out what really matters. But if you're going to be part of the machine all the fucking time, then you're going to play the racist like windmill of bullshit that's kind of being thrown at you. I bring up race in this show because it's funny to me. I think anything about race is fucking silly as shit. So it's just funny to bring up.
I agree. The fact that it's a thing, just like, I don't know why. The fact that that's a thing we use
as like
to like group people as if we're not all just people is just
fucking hilarious.
Bizarre.
Because you would think
if
we were that different, we wouldn't be able to breed. But
because when you really think about it, it's no different than if you group people by eye color or hair color. Like, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Other than, I guess it goes back to, I guess thousands of years ago when people were just grouped in certain areas and civilizations weren't as connected as they became in later years. And it was just like, oh, you're from that area. I associate your complexion with you being from that area, and I know that area bad. And that's
so that skin must be bad.
So that skin must be bad. And somehow that just continued to be a thing, which makes no sense.
It's all born from like old, stupid monkey brain shit.
Sure, absolutely. There's no other explanation for it. There's no reasonable explanation for it other than monkey brain. My brain said this bad, so I think bad.
But let's talk about actual like people who sip the woke Kool-Aid a lot, because TikTok's full of them.
Yes, please.
Half the reason why I can't get into TikTok anymore.
Well, we're banned from TikTok now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, that's
still.
Right. So there's somebody that she announced that she's quitting, TTRPG TikTok because she can't deal with the stress of it. And I respect her. I really do. But what
does that mean? The stress of what?
Because she would throw out an opinion and then get like a bunch of blowback, and it's like all this racist shit and whatnot. Fine.
Okay.
Fine. My thing is, I am afraid to say anything to her simply because, one, we don't have a relationship like that. It's parasocial at best. Like, we talk once in a while, but it's not like it's not real. We're not friends.
Okay.
But I respect her as, like, her ideas are pretty nice. She wants to do the right thing. But my problem
That's
is
fair.
like, you spend too much time telling people how they're wrong, and you spend too much time telling people how they should think. I think I brought up in an earlier episode, I can say that a lot now.
Well, because we've done 52 of them.
How this person has mentioned how you shouldn't play, like, a white person should not play a black person in D&D. Like, that's a
Okay.
stupid fucking take.
Why?
Is like,
Yeah, why? What's her?
From what I can remember, her reasoning was that, it's sort of like, it's equivalent to, like, digital blackface, and that you're cosplaying as a different race of people that you don't understand the problem in it. And I'm just like,
I mean,
they are not us. If I
we
play a
can.
black person in D&D, they don't have the history that I went through, or
We have
that
this
my
issue
ancestors
with.
went through.
We have this issue with, like, Halloween, where you're not allowed. I couldn't dress up as Michael Jackson. Well, I could dress up as Michael Jackson. I could be white Michael Jackson.
My God.
But you know what I mean. You can't dress up as somebody as another race for Halloween, even without doing makeup or
But I don't
anything.
know. See,
Because
that's different. That I can
how's
believe
it
that how
different?
it's a gray area. Because, one, this is why I think it's gray area. One,
Okay, let's say I love Prince. I think Prince is so
yes.
awesome. And I want to wear a Prince outfit and be Prince for Halloween. I'm not doing makeup or anything.
Okay,
I
that's
just want to
fine.
be Prince.
That's why
But
I
there are
said it's gray
plenty
area.
of people. There are plenty of people that are going to get mad about that if it goes online. Look at this asshole that dressed up as Prince for Halloween. What the fuck? What a racist piece of shit. That happens all the time.
And here's the thing: it's mainly because there's this book that was brought up how, like, these little kids were all friends, and one kid, like, the one black friend
By
they
the way,
had.
I don't know why I picked
I
Prince.
don't know.
Go
I
ahead.
love Prince, but
I do too, but
the
it's
one black
random.
kid was dressed up as a ghost, and the white kid said, "Why are you dressed up as a ghost?" Because it's Halloween. It's like, yeah, but you're already something. It's
Wait, what?
Yeah. If you really think about it,
Wait, when did this happen?
it was a book. It was somebody wrote a book. I can't remember the book.
Okay. All right.
And it was like, wait, and that's generally how the world sees white people. White people are the generic race. They are default race, especially in America.
That's true. That's true.
And so in most of the world, not all of the world, but most of it. And with that being the case, there is an unbalance to that. That's why dressing up as Prince, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I can understand why somebody would, because black people who want to play as, especially media or social, like, people, it's really hard to pick somebody that's white, to not pick somebody that's white that's famous, because they're all over the place. Where you're white, you have a choice.
That's a stupid reason, though.
Reason, but it is behind trauma. It's an emotional response. So to get that emotional response, I don't think they're right for it, because they probably.
So how is that different digitally?
So
why is it okay digitally?
So what I was about to say, not digital. I said it's akin to digital blackface. Digital blackface is literally people pretending to be black online, or being any race that's not themselves online. In D&D, they do not. Black people, humans, are just a race. There is no, like, black human, white human. There is just human in most role-playing games. And then you could be black, white, Asian, whatever. And then you could do regions, whatever else, with sub-races.
Video game RPGs is the same too.
Yeah.
You're a human, you're a troll, you're a ogre, you're whatever.
Not species, race. I know they use race as that, but there's a difference. I realize that there is a difference, and I think that I like the difference, saying race is the different sub-races of whatever species you are. So I would consider, like, an orc or an ogre or something like that as a species, a humanoid species. But regardless, not being so crunchy about that. So with, like, being a black character, our mutual friend plays a black character. The history in our world, there was no slave trade. There was no commodifying of black people. So none of that trauma exists in that world for black people specifically.
But are you
So
that makes it okay? But it still exists in the overarching world. So how does that make it a different?
But you're playing the game to escape the overarching world, are you not?
You're okay. That's true.
You're
You're
playing
right.
the
That's a
game
good
to
argument.
escape it. So if by that logic of you pushing back, you should never be
You're bringing it
allowed to
in.
play a black character in a video game. Never. Even if the black character is the main character of the video game. If you want to play Prototype 2, sorry, Wigger, you are not allowed to play Prototype 2 because the main character is black. And there's so much pain and history behind that character, even though that's a fictionalized version and the real history did not really exist for that character.
That's true.
Dressing up as a celebrity is a little different, which I just never do. But dress up as a celebrity, I think, is different because there is history behind who that person is. If you want to dress up,
I still think it's stupid to attack somebody for idolizing someone.
Again, I agree, but
you're giving me the devil's advocate side of the argument.
Like, I understand why it's gray area. Some German girl loved The Walking Dead and dressed up as Michonne and got fucking lit up for it.
Did she do blackface?
Oh yeah, no, she didn't do black. I mean, again, I don't consider when people do accurate skin toning to be blackface. If you put on like shoe polish and red lips,
but
yes,
but that's what they're gonna call it.
Yeah, that's what they call it. But I don't consider it blackface. I consider it getting into character. That's just like if your character so happens to have dark skin, I guess that's it. You're just gatekeeping. But that's also microcosming into the wokeness idea, is because you are now committing like thought crime. People, for instance, like if you just so happen to do something, I'm going to impose my thought of what your intent is on top of that. And that's what it's going to be. I don't even want to address it. We don't have to address it. You're the bad guy for even thinking about addressing it.
Right.
And that's the major problem I have with like modern woke culture. They are no different than the media covering shit up. They are no different than lying in order to get their way. It has nothing to do with fairness. It has nothing to do with doing the right thing. It has everything to do with, oh, my feelings hurt and I don't know how to handle it and I'm going to project it outward. There's a comedian, I don't know who he is because I've never heard of him, he's Australian, I think, said, whatever happened from somebody's feelings getting hurt? If you're, no, not your feelings getting hurt, getting offended. What's the worst that happens? You get upset and you're an adult. You don't have to fucking do anything. There's nothing to stand up for.
Right.
Everybody needs to have a soapbox.
Get over it.
The fact that I want to punch whoever was the first person to say, if you don't stand up for something, you stand for nothing. I want to punch them in the fucking mouth. Maybe stand for just survival. That's what we stand for. You're just making shit up. When you find a real cause to go behind, then you can stand up. You can choose to stand up for it, stand up for it or not. But people are just standing up for everything and anything. I find it absolutely fucking ridiculous.
But then how do you pick? How do you pick what's right and what's wrong? What makes sense to stand up for and what doesn't?
By using your fucking brain. I might not agree with you, but use your fucking brain so when we meet face to face and we have a discussion about it, you can make points that I didn't think of, that I have no answer for. And then guess what? My feelings have to dissipate. It might take a day or two, but they have to dissipate, and I have to grow the fuck up and say, fuck, I'm wrong. Simple as that. But nobody has the fucking balls or labias or ovaries or whatever you want to say to fucking do that. Nobody.
Just say balls. We're arguing about woke culture here.
No,
Just say balls.
I'm saying that because I'm making fun of the fact that, nobody knows. I said labia in the middle of it. Labia doesn't hold shit.
Labia. Your labia. Kim Kardashian's beef.
There's this movement going on on TikTok, because I brought it up, called the Drizzle movement.
Oh no, what is that?
It's pretty much men are saying, well, I'm in my soft boy era. I want you to pay for all the food. I want you to take care of me. I'm not gonna do
what the
shit.
Fuck's a soft boy era? What's a soft
making fun
boy?
of women, single women that are galvanizing together, saying men aren't shit, And if you are, it's pretty much woman's red pill, essentially, saying, well, you need to pay for everything, you need to do this, you need to do that. So they made this bullshit movement where it's just like, it might be co-opted by MGTOW at some point, saying, well, you know what? Fine. Well, I'm not going to pay for anything. I know my value. If my woman needs to deserve me, drizzle, drizzle. Because the girls say sprinkle, sprinkle. And it's so stupid. It's so dumb. But here's the thing: these women,
it's funny
with this woke mindset, because a lot of them are black and women of color. I hate saying of color, I really do, but I can't think of a better term because I've heard it enough times. Instead of realizing, being self-aware enough to go, oh, this is dumb. They are like, well, we already knew you were like that anyway. Now we're just glad that men have the balls to say it. Like, first of all, this is literally one dude online. This is not you. I don't want to be that guy, but not all men.
This is not everybody.
So what are you fucking talking about? 2, do you realize how small your bubble is? Not everything goes by. Like, I can say all the shit I want on this podcast right now, and I could be contradicted as soon as I turn off my computer and go outside and go,
sure.
And then next episode I might say something the complete opposite. Because I was
gonna say we've probably contradicted ourselves 100 times just on the last 52 episodes of this podcast.
Because these are all opinions, and opinions are meant to change based on evidence.
Opinions are like assholes. They change. They pucker. I don't
They go
know.
prolapsed. Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I was trying to go somewhere with it. It didn't work at all.
But no, just
my asshole changed a lot over the years. I mean,
yeah. Oh God, I don't want to know. I did not need to know that at all. You keep doing this to me. You keep doing this stupid shit to me, and I hate you for it.
It's fun though.
But like, there's a major lack of self-awareness to a bunch of woke people. They wonder why people like push back. It's like, well, they're a bigot. It's like, no, they're just tired. They're tired of being told they're a bad guy all the fucking time. Just because they have
that's what it comes
opinion.
down to, right? You're a bad guy. You're a bad guy because you have a different opinion or a different mindset or a different upbringing or a different background or a different culture, whatever. Any of the above it could be. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But it's just it seems like it's ruined so many things. And like I said, watching that Tom Brady roast, I kind of thought back to, man, this is what comedy used to be. And I think about,
and it was funny. It's still funny.
It's still funny. I think about all the specials I watched lately, and that I just don't laugh that hard. I just, because the jokes have to be a little more tame, a little less offensive. And I think I'm listening to these all just really awful jokes and laughing my balls off because they're silly, they're ridiculous, and remembering like, that's why I haven't been laughing at comedy specials for the last 5+ years, because they've all been toned down so much to the point where they lack that. What is humor? Humor is the hearing something that's just completely different than what you expect to hear. Hearing something that's so outrageous.
It's a trauma response of your brain going, oh my God, that's dangerous. Oh wait, no, that's not. And
that's not what I expected.
Yeah, and then it just flips and it becomes funny. And it releases
so the more obtuse or the more perverse the joke, the more that happens in your brain, and it's not again, a thing anymore.
I think most of these people are, since it's online a lot, is because most of them are autistic, and they can't get it. They just go, but if he said that, that means he must mean it.
You think that's part of it?
No, I don't really think that. See, you're autistic. I swear to God, you're autistic.
No, I'm not.
You need to get tested. You can say you're not all you want.
Right,
you need to get tested.
Well, apparently all I got to do is take a quiz online and it'll tell me nowadays. Based on the people I know, like half the people I know now, they just take a little fucking 10-question quiz online and then they're like, oh, I'm on the spectrum.
Well, everybody wants to be autistic. Nowadays, everybody wants to be autistic. So,
well, it goes back to, it's just like woke cultures because that makes them feel special. I had a conversation with my mother-in-law about this, I don't know, a couple months back when I was over their house. And like, again, my brother-in-law is severely autistic, and she just she just like got so on her, she got on her soapbox and was like, you want to fucking see autistic? This is what autistic is, you motherfuckers. Stop acting like you've got some big disorder when because you got this little fucking twinkle in your eye. Like this
no,
is
you're a little
autistic,
slow.
not you. Not you on your fucking, you're all happy because you've got something special about you now. That's not autism, you fucking dumb cunt.
Yeah. Like,
and again, I know there are degrees. I know there are, but there are these, like I said, these people take quizzes online, answer a couple questions, and they're like, oh, the internet says I am, so I guess I am.
But even
and
then,
that becomes part of their personality and their bio. I'm on spectrum.
Here's a question for you. If you were to find out you were autistic, let's just say you did, right? You took the test, the real test, and they told you, what would change?
Nothing.
There's way too many
Zero.
people, and I have somebody that I care about that did this, and I don't agree with it, that found out that they are autistic, was obsessing over being autistic, like, was not sure that they were autistic, but obsessing over it.
Yeah.
Then, and maybe this is the autism, I don't fucking know. I just know when I first met them, they were a functional person. And then all of a sudden they started obsessing. Like, well, I'm just done masking. It's like, oh,
it turned into a crutch.
But now you're incapable of everything. You complain about everything. You're just so insufferable now.
Well, masking, I feel that somebody who
their autism.
No, I know, but I feel that a person who truly is autistic would not have the ability to mask that properly.
That's what again, a spectrum. I don't know. It's different for everybody, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know. I do not know.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, like, now they are considerably
there's two
more useless as a person than they were a few years ago. They were working.
I think there are two spectrums. There is the spectrum where one side is severe and noticeably
like functional,
mentally disabled, and then there's the functional, but it's very socially limiting and personality limiting. And then there's the people that are just like, oh, I'm special. There's like that core part of the spectrum that's real, and then there's this other end that's just like, and here we go, I'm gonna get yelled at by woke people that are like, I'm autistic. I took a test online and said I was. You're offending me.
I call myself autistic, not because I am, but I don't understand certain social things, and I think that's funny to call myself autistic.
Right, I know you're joking around.
You're offending autistic people. How? And how does that hurt them?
You're not offending them. You're offending.
Which you don't know. Hell, I don't even know. But you're assuming I'm not.
You're making an assumption, and then you're shitting on you. You are very much right.
Like, you're so hard to not be a hypocrite, and all these groups just do not understand that you're gonna you can't be on a moral soapbox and be a hypocrite, but it's impossible to not be a hypocrite.
One of my favorite clips online, I can't remember, I think it was on the Piers Morgan show. There was a gay man debating against another man about something having to do with gay culture or trans or something like that. And the gay man said to him, like, as a straight man, you don't, and he was like, why are you, I'm not straight. Why are you assuming I'm straight? I'm actually a gay man. And the other guy was just like, his mind just exploded. Gay? It was like,
what does gay look like?
Oh shit! Yeah, his mind. He's like, why would you assume I'm straight? And it was just like, oh boy, the guy's face just turned pink.
I want to see
bright purple. Pink.
I want to see that clip now. Like,
I gotta find the clip. Yeah, I've seen it a few times. It's come up in my feed, and every time I see it, I laugh because it's I'm like, yeah, you just got burned,
like,
bro.
It's. I mean, that's kind of the Key and Peele skit now, isn't it? Latrell.
Wait, which
Latrell,
one?
They were in the cubicles, and Keegan played a super gay man, and he was like doing all this gay shit to Peele, and he was talking about like his butthole and doing all this like super like just over exaggerated gay stuff, and then he was like, "Oh, you're just doing this because I'm gay. You are just being you're being like this because I'm gay." And then Jordan's boyfriend comes in and they kiss, and he goes, "Oh, I'm not persecuted. I'm just an asshole." Like, yes. And
that reminds me of the other one with the courtroom where they talk about all the people. Was it they said he was. They're like represented. They're like all these people here today, and they're like gay men. They showed Jordan Peele, and he looks at the camera and he's like,
"Oh yeah, I do remember that."
And they keep flashing back to him, and he's trying to hide and shit. That show is so good. Why did they end that show?
Because they needed to grow, funny. And Comedy Central is apparently terrible.
That's true. I gotta go back and watch.
Only the worst of those three like, top skit shows lasted a really long time, and that was The Mind of Mencia. And that's because Carlos Mencia was
I didn't watch that one.
Sellout.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. I didn't watch that one. All right. Do we got to wrap up here?
Sure.
I guess it's about time. We complained about woke people enough. You did a good job. I didn't do such a great job. I just complained and said I don't like this.
Out by like midway through my tirade.
No, I don't think so. I think it was a good one. All right, guys, that's episode 52. That's a year worth of listening to one a week for you. Why are you pew-pew-pewing me?
I don't know.
My head hurts. Go to our website. You can do stuff there.
TIWIHY.com. I'm gonna get that delay until I do it perfectly with it.
I mean, in post I could line it up perfectly, but
that would be nice.
That would be too much work, though. So I'm not gonna do it. That's the wrong song. That's the wrong song.
Dick.
You were making me laugh, and I wasn't thinking about it.
Control your fingers. He's just.
My fingers are being thingy.
I put it down, jeez.
Leave me alone. Later. Peace. Hi, I got it out before you this week.